Before we get into the latest edition of Bengals Breakdown, we are narrowly behind the early sub-battle against the Browns report here at Chat Sports. Let's make sure they know who runs Ohio. Get more free Bengals videos by subscribing for free right now. We begin today's Bengals Rumors Roundup with Tee Higgins trade ideas once again being floated out there. As soon as the Bills traded Stefon Diggs, which surprised many, including your boy here, the Bills were quickly linked to a Tee Higgins trade, even though, as we'll get into, there's some problems with that whole idea. Number one, look, the Bills badly need wide receiver help. Absolutely. It's Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir. It's not a good wide receiver room up in Buffalo when they trade away their number one wideout. I guess apologies to Matt Collins, too. They don't have a number one. They are paying number one and then some money, though, on the salary cap this year for Stefon Diggs. They're still paying him $31 million against the cap, which that's why I didn't think it was going to happen, because that money was known for a while. Despite that, FanSided, other blog sites have said, well, maybe the Bengals trade for Tee Higgins, or the Bills trade for Tee Higgins. I don't think that happens. And if you don't believe me, take the word of Adam Schefter. The Bills were already doing a lot of work on wide receivers in this draft class. And if you look at it, with the money they take on by trading Diggs right now, essentially, they can't afford to go trade for a wide receiver like Tee Higgins and sign him to a long-term extension. So if they're going to find help, it has to come through the draft. Now, the Bengals or the Bills could find a way to do it, but they have to pull pretty much every lever, and they kind of don't want to do that right now. That's been their entire offseason strategy. Plus, oh, by the way, I don't think the Bengals are going to trade him anyway. The Bengals' asking price for Tee Higgins is pretty damned high, and much higher than some of the other franchise tag players you've seen dealt. Brian Burns, L'Jarius Sneed, etc. Yeah, Higgins coming off a slightly down season after being a pretty consistent 1,000 or near 1,000-yard player for the bulk of his career so far. There is value in Tee Higgins returning. The Bengals want to win now. They want to be a contender right now, in a way maybe the Bills don't want to be. The Bengals believe that keeping Tee Higgins and Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow together, which was the most productive offense in the limited time those three guys were healthy together this past season, is the ideal path unless a team blows them away. Buffalo's not going to blow them away because the money doesn't make sense for them. Now, I do think the Bengals will draft a receiver probably by the end of day two. I think they want more competition there. I don't think they love what they saw from Charlie Jones in year one. They want more from Andre Yoshivas, who's a fun project piece. Higgins won't be here forever, probably. Yeah, they want more wide receiver help. I think they draft one. I don't think they trade T, though. So what do you think? Will the Bengals move Tee Higgins during the NFL draft? It's your kind of A.J. Brown style, right? Y for yes, N for no. It's the pinned comment on the video today. If an ad comes on YouTube, it's great. Ignore it. Go vote Y or N at the pinned comment. Let's stick with the draft conversation here. How about Brock Bowers, a popular target for many in Bengals fandom, and I can't say I blame you guys. ESPN listed Bowers and the Bengals as one of their favorite team prospects fits. Here was the argument from Matt Bowen of ESPN. Bowers has the route running ability to beat linebackers in man coverage and the speed to stretch defenses on the seams. A rugged mover after the catch, he can work the middle of the field for quarterback Joe Burrow, turning underneath throws into explosive gains. He has 10 career 100-yard receiving games at Georgia, which was tied for the most by any FBS tight end over the past 25 seasons, according to ESPN stats and info. The Bengals added veteran tight end Mike Gesicki on a one-year deal in free agency, but Bowers the traits developed into a legitimate matchup threat, and he's not afraid to block in the run game. Look, the fit is a very strong one for the Bengals and Brock Bowers. The big question, though, is, okay, is he going to be there? Is Brock Bowers going to fall all the way down into the back end or the middle part of round one? Is he going to get past teams like the Jets, maybe even the Bears too, the Broncos, the Saints, the Colts? I have my doubts. So what do you think is the percent chance that Brock Bowers makes it to the number 18 overall pick? Is it a low one or is it a medium one? Or are you drinking the Kool-Aid saying it's a high one? Drop that prediction percentage for me in the comments. Now, Bowers is one of the unique tight end prospects. We don't often see This level of production at the collegiate level, knowing he did miss some time with an ankle injury this past season, the production was remarkably impressive from Brock Bowers. And I actually don't love him, frankly, as a blocker. That's okay. Think of him more as just a supersized, supercharged slot receiver. Where you lose Tyler Boyd, now Brock Bowers plays a bigger role for you. You can use more 2 tight end sets. There was a handful of tight ends who, at a good level, can take jet sweep handoffs. Brock Bowers can do that. Unbelievable. He's a top 10 player, I think, for most people's boards. Yeah, you got Gesicki, 1-year deal. That's fine. He's been in a tight end platoon before. He can handle it again this year. I would have all the interest in the world in drafting Brock Bowers if he were to get there. I don't think he will. You shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets to your next big event, and Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. As I'm sure many of you know, prices tend to drop as the event gets closer. However, it can be a bit anxiety-inducing to make sure you get the tickets you want. Game Time has the lowest price guaranteed, and they take the guesswork out of buying tickets. They've got deals right up to the start of the event, even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. You've got flash deals, sponsored deals, and zone deals as well. I do love a good zone deal. The zone deal is basically you pick the section, and Game Time picks the seats for big-time savings, by the way, in the process. Red tickets are not that expensive. They're pretty darn affordable relative to, going to an NFL game. So download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account and redeem code CHATSPORTS, Chat Sports, for $20 off. Download Game Time today for last-minute tickets, the lowest price guaranteed. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Let's stick with the draft. Go to Taliese Fuaga out of Oregon State. He was among, we'll get to a full list maybe next week. Depends on when and how many names we get. He was among, though, the Bengals' 30 draft visits. You get 30 pre-draft visits, bring them into the facility, work them out, meet with them, do some medical stuff. Clear signs for most teams. There's interest there. Bengals clearly have interest in Fuaga. Now, again, I have my doubts here that he gets down to number 18. I think a guy like J.C. Latham would be more likely than Fuaga to get down to that first-round pick. If he does, though, just like Brock Bowers, I'm going to just skip on up to the podium with a big old smile on my face. I think it would be a great pick for Cincinnati if he were to get there in round 1, plus he's used to playing in orange and black, right? So who do you want to take in round 1? More on Fuaga to come here in this video. Drop that player you've got your eyes set on. Realistic names only, like Marvin Harrison is not realistic at all. Neither is Malik Neighbors, even if you believe the character concern report, which I kind of don't. But drop that player prospect you want in the comments. Now, Fuaga at Oregon State was in more of a run-heavy scheme. And I do think to an extent that kind of helped hide him a little bit in pass protection. It wasn't as challenging or as plentiful in terms of the opportunities there. But this is a mean mauler in the run game. This is one of the best run blockers in the class. At just under 6'6", 324 pounds. Only 33 and an eighth-inch arms, though. That might be some concerns for people there. Tested incredibly well for someone his size at the NFL Combine. You want a bigger body offensive lineman like the Bengals have been doing with guys like Orlando Brown and Trent Brown at tackle. Fuaga fills that role. Now, we might not play him in year 1. I think, and I probably would play him over Trent Brown and make Trent Brown your swing tackle. But if Fuaga's on the board for you in the first round, I don't see any path in which he's not the best available player on at least the consensus board or probably even the Bengals' own personal board there. An aggressive, mean, powerful right tackle. That is the exact type of offensive lineman the Bengals have liked as of late. Again, the good news is he tested super well. This is not one of those, if you like the relative athletic scores, this is not like he's a 5 on that number. No, he's a 9.63. You're talking, who his closest comparisons are? A trauma name alert, great name alert, and a bad name, and an averager name. Jamal Brown would be a great outcome. Jermaine Ifedi, I know. Also, Andrew Whitworth. He'd be a great pick for the Bengals in round 1.